your ruler, Zod. Your lands, your possessions, your very lives will gladly be given in tribute to me.
What's up, everybody? So I wanted to make this video because I was just kind of having this argument with somebody, and so it was on my mind already, like whether or not Adam Sandler is talented or whether or not his movies are good, right? This is one of my subscriptions, Nerdstalgic, and it just so happens that 2 weeks ago they made this video, which I just noticed. So I was like, oh, I might as well watch that. But I was researching and looking around at different articles and different discussions and message boards and a couple of other videos discussing the supposed Adam Sandler hate and of his movies being bad. And the last video that I just watched before this, which I'm not going to react to on this video, but it was trying to argue that, oh, people are jealous of Adam Sandler. The video was a 3-minute video, and it was like explaining, like, really, just people, the reason there's so much hate is because people are jealous. And I'm like, no, that's not it at all. That's not all it. And it's funny too, because it was the same argument. It was the same argument that the person I was talking to, you know who you are if you're watching this video, was trying to make, is, oh, you're just jealous of Adam Sandler, and can you do better? Can you do better? That's this terrible argument because he got in into the circle, right? He got into all this in the 80s, right? Back then, there was not a huge convolution of, you know, compared to today. I'm not going to say it wasn't difficult. I'm not going to say, oh, just anyone can break in, or I'm not going to say it wasn't difficult, but compared to today in 2023, compared to the 1980s, it was way easier to be unique, to break in, to, you know, the dude got on SNL, okay? So already he was picked, right? You're picked, right? You have, like, even the most talented people who have tried to get on SNL have failed to get on SNL because it's only a few people who get to decide who gets in the pearly gates, right? So he was found and he was picked and selected, right? So that's already a huge factor of luck and determinism, right? Just blind, stupid luck. I mean, even Shane Gillis didn't get on SNL, and he was this close. He was this close. And that goes into the whole Joe Rogan argument of, like, Joe Rogan being extremely, extremely lucky in life, where he moved out to LA, and literally the first audition that he ever tried for, the first one, he got. And then the second one, he got that too. Now, was he extremely talented or just extremely lucky? Because when I look at him, I don't see him extremely talented as an actor, right? And he had only just started stand-up too. And he gets the first 2 acting gigs that he ever tries for. I think that's a huge factor of luck. There's some people that try for years and years and years and years and don't get anything. So that's just another thing, another argument that the person tried to use. The video didn't mention this, but the person I was talking to tried to mention this. Well, he writes all his own movies. Can you write movies better? Can you write a screenplay? He started writing these in collaboration with other people. He wasn't writing them by himself. This was back in the 80s, early 90s, and he's sitting not by himself, but in actual other rooms. And not only that, but because he was on SNL, he had access to the writer's room of SNL. So he met all sorts of writers. So he learned all about it, learned the ins and outs, and got to collaborate with all these people because they make skits every week, right? It's the idea that this just, oh, he's just so talented, he just did it all by himself, is asinine. So anyways, in collaboration with these people, he learns about it, and then the two biggest movies that he's famous for, the cult classics that everyone always goes back to and always says, well, you know, some of his recent movies have been stinkers, but at least there was Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, right? Which he co-wrote with other people. It's like, dude, anyways, the point is, and then the person tried to argue like, oh, well, you can write your own screenplay and self-publish it, right? The screenplay is basically the film version of a book. It's a book, but in the format for you to shoot the scenes and actually categorize it into a film. I don't buy that argument either, because A, we're in 2023, right? We're in 2023. Yes, you can self-publish on Amazon, but guess what? Amazon censors like crazy. I looked into that too, and there's so many people who tried to self-publish on Amazon, and Amazon decided, oh, I'm gonna censor. I don't like that. I'm gonna censor that, and then you can't self-publish on Amazon because they censor like crazy. We're in the era of AI, where you can literally get freaking ChatGPT to write you an entire movie screenplay instantaneously. And they're pretty good. So you're competing with not only other people probably more creative than you, but also them working symbiotically with AI as tools. Because, well, so they're adding their own creativity to the insane infinite possibilities of all these AI tools, where they can just pump out a freaking book or a screenplay instantaneously, right? Not only that, but combine all that with all of the insane production. Go to IMDb and look at go to freaking whatever your favorite Adam Sandler movies. Go to Happy Gilmore, right, and go down to the cast and crew, and scroll and scroll and scroll, and you look how many people are involved in creating a movie. It's an insane amount of people involved in creating a movie. An insane amount of micromanaging of people, right? It's not one person's talent. It's not, has nothing to do with one person's ability or talent. It's an insane amalgamation of coming together and cooperation and different insights into cinematography and all sorts of different collaborations. Anyways, my point is, the dude got lucky for his time, and because he got in an era pre-internet, pre everything having already been done. Not only that, that's another aspect, is nowadays it's insanely hard to make anything unique and take off, is because everything's already been done. Every idea has almost already been had. I'm sure there's more ideas to be had in the future, but for the most part, everything is just some sort of rehashing and reimagination of some ideas that have already been tried and just approached at a different angle. There's just all sorts of aspects to that, and that's not even getting into the fact that the dude literally plays the same guy in every movie that he's in. But anyways, let's jump into this video and see what's going on. Here we go. Max volume. Alright, here we go.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better.
This is Billy Madison, one of Adam Sandler's most iconic characters. But that clip could have just easily have been Bobby Boucher or Happy Gilmore, or any of the other characters Sandler played throughout the mid-90s and early 2000s.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
They say that hindsight is 2020. So in 2023, we can look back and recognize the simple key to Adam Sandler's successful career.
And he literally plays the same dude in every movie. It's like he's either an idiot oaf with an anger problem in every movie or some type of family man with an anger problem in every movie. It's the same dude in every movie, just different slight iterations. It's just really bad. And like I've enjoyed Adam Sandler movies in the past. Like I don't hate Adam Sandler. But anyone that holds him to like anyone that says, "Oh, he's like, oh, his comedies are the best." It's like, bro, there's so many better comedies. You can even go back to the 80s and like watch Police Academy, and those are better comedies than his movies, dude. Like, I just don't get the appeal. Like, I've enjoyed Adam Sandler movies. Like, I enjoyed Mr. Deeds. I enjoyed what was that movie? The Parents, the freaking something Parents. I don't remember, but anyways, there's been a couple that I've enjoyed. I enjoyed Click. But even the ones I enjoyed, they're pretty mediocre. The vast majority of them are so mediocre. But anyways,
he played the exact same character for a decade.
Shut up!
Before his rise to movie stardom, Sandler had a brief stint on The Cosby Show, performed in comedy clubs, and was a writer and performer on SNL. In the early 90s, he found himself in fever dreams like Shakes the Clown and cult classics like Coneheads and Airheads, but he was always sharing the spotlight with bigger names. He wouldn't find major success as a solo star until 1995, and from then until around 2005, he was on top of the world.
Billy Madison?
And the humor is
As both the
so
star and co-writer of Billy Madison,
lowbrow,
audience expectations were high, and he met them. It debuted at #1 in the box office the weekend it released and easily made back its meager $10 million budget. But what it really made was an impact. Like many Adam
I'm not against lowbrow humor. I'm not. I love lowbrow humor. Anyone that knows me personally knows that I am immature as fuck and I love lowbrow humor. I love lowbrow humor, but there's Jim Carrey lowbrow humor, and then there's Adam Sandler all the way down here, right? Jim Carrey makes lowbrow humor. Jim Carrey makes lowbrow humor and pretty much all his comedy movies back in the 90s, 2000s. But then there's Adam Sandler down here, where it's just even another step below, just absolute R-worded.
Sandler movies to come after it, Billy Madison is a wealth of hilarious quotes and memorable moments that we're still laughing at today.
I disagree. It's a very good game, but I think Donkey Kong is the best game ever.
Donkey Kong sucks.
You know something? You suck.
Sandler definitely understood what he was there to do, and he did it flawlessly, which led to several more productions looking to recapture that magic. Happy Gilmore came out only a year later, receiving a somewhat kinder reaction from critics and still raking in almost $40 million at the box office. And The Wedding Singer pushed things even higher both critically and financially in 1998. But the true turn of the tides came with
The Wedding Singer was good. I enjoyed
The
Wedding
Waterboy.
Singer and Waterboy. I enjoyed that one.
H2O.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
Once again starring and co-written by Sandler,
was
Waterboy
extremely
may not have been able to
stupid,
sway
though.
critics, but it did make $185 million theatrically on a $23 million budget. Needless to say, this smashed all of Sandler's previous box office records and officially cemented him as a household name.
Remember when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl, do you?
A year later, he created his own production company, Happy Madison, named for the first two movies that jump-started his career. From there, ran full steam ahead, writing and producing his own movies in a similar vein, and casting many of his friends alongside him. Adam Sandler found a sort of niche in the movie market that he could fill. To break down what that means, we'll take a closer look at some of Adam Sandler's most notable roles in just a second. But first, make sure you subscribe to Nerdstalgic if you're into videos like this one.
Back to school to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
Billy Madison is the story of a well-intentioned, slightly obnoxious buffoon who repeats elementary school in the hopes of taking over his father's company. In the process, he meets a beautiful and intelligent teacher named Veronica Vaughn,
Jackpot.
who initially dismisses him until he proves himself to be a little more kind-hearted, and the two live happily ever after. Happy Gilmore is the story of a
That's another thing that's always pissed me off about his movies. I don't know, it just always pisses me off about this fucking complete false bullshit nonsense reality. Like, these dudes, these average, like, come on, man. Adam Sandler is not attractive. Neither is Kevin James, etc., etc. But all these dudes in comedies always cast themselves as having a super hot love interest or a super hot, like a super hot wife, and blah blah blah. It's just so self, what's the word? Like, it's like they're self-jerking themselves off, like, because they're the ones that set that up and make that false reality. They're the ones that say, "Oh, give me a hot wife," and in the movie they're just playing some regular dude. Yeah, sure, they have a hot wife in real life because they have millions of dollars, but in the movie they're just a regular dude. That's another thing that's always pissed me off, is like, why does, like, for example, in Click, why the hell is freaking Kate Beckinsale married to Adam Sandler in Click? That's complete chicanery.
Intentioned, slightly obnoxious buffoon who has to pay off his grandmother's debts by throwing down his hockey stick and picking up a golf club. In the process, he meets a beautiful and intelligent public relations director named Virginia Bennett, who initially dismisses him until he proves himself to be a little more level-headed.
Slow down. I don't want to be more than friends. I just met you.
And the two live happily ever after. The Waterboy is the story of a well-intentioned, slightly obnoxious... Well, you get the point. Even Billy Madison himself would be able to see the patterns here.
That's quacktastic.
Practically everything about Sandler's most beloved movies is copied from another one of his successes. One could make the argument that this is par for the course when making comedy movies centered around one big star in the 90s. After all, every Robin Williams movie made use of his improv and impersonation skills, and Jim Carrey's movies were mostly just a framing device for his unbelievable physical comedy. But this idea is much more intense when it comes to Sandler. It's as though Sandler is playing a single character across multiple bizarre universes. Sure, one aspect of that character's personality might be further leaned into, but it is very much still...
And there you go, too. This is another thing that drives me nuts. This. And you'll see this all throughout Adam Sandler movies. You'll see this kind of thing. Just really weird product placement of all sorts of... like... all of his go back and watch all of his movies, like Mr. Deeds. They'll straight up even turn to the camera and show the product. Like, they're making a joke out of it, but I guarantee you they got paid to do that. They got paid. And it's like, so, in 2019, right? In 2019, Hollywood is aware of other scripts that are in the process of being made, right? Hollywood knows when something is being made. So Knives Out was a really well thought out movie, and they were in production of it. But from what I know about Sandler's productions, he'll literally take his friends, go to some place he already wanted to visit, and pump a movie out. A normal like high quality production like Knives Out takes 6 months to produce, where he pumps movies out 3 months, 2 months. Like, he'll go someplace, and it's really low effort stuff. It's like, and he'll go and do it. So they probably got wind. Oh, you know, this movie's coming out at the end of the year, so that gives us 6 months to get our version of the same type of genre, and put it out in the summertime, which is a better release window than the fall time, which is when Knives Out came out. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy, and because literally the movie is, like he just said, it's set around him. It's set around Sandler. It's just Sandler. It's not character. No, it's Adam Sandler in a different movie. Adam Sandler in a different movie. So no matter what it is, because it's Sandler, it's gonna make millions of dollars. And so I just don't. It just drives me nuts. Freaking Middle America just freaking loves Adam Sandler movies. Don't get it. I just do not get it.
Character's personality might be further leaned into, but it is very much still the same character. He even tends to employ the same
And the marketers, they know that Middle America loves Adam Sandler, and that's probably why there's so many blatant product placements in his movies.
Voices to every role he plays. Take Robbie Hart in The Wedding Singer, who is timid and soft-spoken.
Why do you need to leave Ridgefield? We grew up here.
Until a moment requires him to be full of rage.
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
And compare him to Happy Gilmore, who is full of rage and irritation.
I've seen those finger paintings you bring home and they suck!
Until a moment requires him to be soft-spoken.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean that.
The character's core pillar of personality may be flipped, but the result is still essentially the same. Sandler's characters are often bullied by a successful jerk or comedic bit character. The women in his life tend to have an almost saintly level of patience for the wild antics he gets up to, and when his
That's another thing that drives me nuts, is not only does he always give himself a hot girl, that if he was just actually that normal guy and wasn't a multi-millionaire, she wouldn't give him the time of day. And all of that, she's tolerating all this chicanery, all this bullcrap. Come on, freaking, it's nonsense, dude.
Love interest's name isn't alliterative, it rhymes.
Julia's last name's gonna be Gulia. Julia Gulia. That's funny.
Even the rest of the cast surrounding Sandler ends up fairly homogenous. Rob Schneider and Steve Buscemi found their way into virtually every Adam Sandler movie ever made, and Drew Barrymore appeared in 2 of his movies around this time. It's no wonder why so many of these movies came out in such quick succession, if you consider how many aspects were cut and pasted directly from previous scripts. But clearly none of this was particularly a bad thing.
Exactly. So anyone saying, oh, giving him credit for writing his own movies, bro, it's the same format every movie. He's the same character in every movie. He takes the format, he copies and pastes certain aspects, different themes. Ta-da! And guess what? He's got help. He's not doing it himself. He's not sitting at home on his laptop writing up the whole screenplay all by himself. Just because he's the only one credited. Fucking, I don't know. I'm just pissed off.
Once he had established his formula and persona, audiences continued to show up to Sandler's films over the years. Huge financial successes like Big Daddy, Mr. Deeds, 51st Dates, and The Longest Yard overshadowed.
I will give him credit for 51st Dates and The Longest Yard. 51st Dates and The Longest Yard was good. But The Longest Yard was a remake of a Burt Reynolds movie, so again, like I said at the beginning of the video, of everything being remakes and reimaginings and ripoffs, so he was just remaking a movie that Burt Reynolds had already done. Anyways.
Films like Little Nicky and 8 Crazy Nights. But even the early movies have accumulated cult followings. This is in no small part due to the inherent charisma of Adam Sandler and his specific brand of comedy.
You're mad at your dad, not at me. I forgive you.
I am. I hate my father.
To handwave Sandler's star power and try to dismiss him as a one-trick pony is to do him a major disservice. During this space of time around 95 to 2005, audiences were drawn to him. And so were
I loved Anger Management, but it was more so because of Jack Nicholson than than Adam Sandler. I love Jack Nicholson a lot, and that's why I loved Anger Management so much. Like, Jack Nicholson is freaking amazing. That scene in what is it called? As Good as It Gets, when his character describes how he writes women so well in his novels. That's an awesome scene, dude.
The writers and directors. They understood that there was more to Sandler's performances than jokes and funny voices. Sandler found critical success with movies like 2004's Punch Drunk Love, where he was able to fully explore the deep sadness and loneliness that many of his more popular characters harbored under the surface. If there was ever any doubt, his role as Barry Egan proved that he was never a one-note actor, even if a lot of his movies post-2005 suggest otherwise.
Also, I'm wearing a suit today because I had a very important meeting this morning, and I don't have a crying problem.
Okay.
2006's Click was the first Adam Sandler movie that fans and critics seemed to mutually dislike. Though it made a ridiculous amount of money, it became clear that time...
That's weird that fans and critics mutually disliked it, because I actually love that movie. That was like one of the few Adam Sandler movies that I was like, oh, this was actually a really good movie. Damon, lay down. Lay down. Lay down. You just made me lose my thought. What was I gonna say? Hold on, let me go back and maybe it'll refresh my memory. Okay, so now I remember. He just touched on how, like, a lot of his characters, like, have a sadness and pain behind the eyes, right? And so part of that is, Adam Sandler said in a round table that he has a hard time laughing genuinely in his movies. So literally, and that's another reason why I've never really liked his movies, is whenever his characters are laughing, it's always like a fake laugh, like like that. Like, I don't know if I did it right. I was trying to do an impersonation. I don't know how close that was, but anyways, but it always is like fake and forced. And he admitted in the interview, all my laughs in all my movies are fake and forced because it's really hard for me to do a genuine laugh. Like, so it's like, man, that makes it even less likable.
Though it made a ridiculous amount of money, it became clear that times were changing, and so were the expectations of audiences. Sandler tried to pivot 2 years later with Don't Mess with the Zohan, a film
and I don't know how more people don't just naturally see that. I don't know if it's my Asperger's, or if people are just dumb or what, but like, how do you not recognize? How does the mass audiences, the mass majority of people of America that go and see these movies, they don't recognize a forced laugh? That's a forced, painful laugh, and you guys are taking it as genuine. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not saying it's easy to do a genuine laugh on command. I just think it's really weird that someone who's a multi tens of millions of dollars, the dude is worth like literally hundreds of millions of dollars based on being a funny man, doesn't even have a genuine laugh in his movies.
That certainly can't be accused of featuring a carbon copy of his old characters. What it can be accused of, however, is being bad. Things only got worse from here with Pixels, the Grown Ups franchise, and the universally despised Jack and Jill. And that's not even mentioning his deal with Netflix that produced some of the lowest tier movies to date,
yeah. Sandy,
which were all somehow widely successful.
Dude, I remember. I was living with my cousin, right, and one of his friends, and when Sandy Wexler came out on Netflix, it literally just came out that day, and we're like, oh, the new Adam Sandler movie. They were so excited because all these, no offense to them, all these freaking idiots love Adam Sandler. And so we're like, oh, it's gonna be so good. Let's sit down and watch it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm down for a funny movie. I'll sit down and watch it. And guess what? Even they didn't like it. Sandy Wexler was so bad. Even, dude, I think all of us I think all of us turned off the movie and went to bed because it was so freaking unbearably bad. It was terrible.
It seemed that the further away from the golden years he got, the worse his movies became.
I disagree.
In 2019, his starring role in Uncut Gems, which earned him a Best Male Lead in the Independent Spirit Awards, reminded a whole new generation of viewers that he is more than the guy who yells at children, tackles the elderly, and makes antiquated vacation comedies with his buddies. Both the serious and lighthearted versions of Adam Sandler have their place in Hollywood history. Perhaps we've grown tired of the latter in more recent years, but we wouldn't have one without the other.
You like that, baby? Let him know where that came from, yeah!
If Adam Sandler hadn't spent an entire decade playing the same character, garnering a massive fan base and raking in millions of dollars, he wouldn't have been able to work on projects like Uncut Gems. And he wouldn't be able to return to nostalgic form in projects like Hubie Halloween. Nobody would have given him the opportunity to do so without his long list of impressive accomplishments trailing along behind him.
This is me. This is how I win.
Well, that's it for today's video.
I wouldn't call it impressive accomplishments. I would just call it failing upwards, dumb luck, and determinism. People underestimate how people can just hit a stroke. They can just hit a wave of luck and literally ride that wave an extremely far distance. I really think people underestimate that. I mean, Joe Rogan is the example I always go to because, dude, he would have never had the money to continue to get better at stand-up had he not gotten the first acting gig he ever tried for. Because he wouldn't have had the time to go to clubs every night and get better. If he's having to actually get an income other ways, you know what I mean? Like, he moved out to LA. Immediately, his agent said, "Okay, I got you this audition and this audition." He went to both. He landed both roles. Bam. Now he's doing these roles, and that's giving him a development deal. Literally, immediately as soon as he moved out to LA, he just young kid gets a free $100,000, right? He gets a free $100,000 given to him. Now he's like, "Oh my gosh, I got $100,000," and he's living off this $100,000. He's got 2 acting gigs. One of the shows gets canceled, but the other show doesn't get canceled. The other show was News Radio, and he's going to the most famous, prestigious comedy club every night and becoming friends with everybody. That's just dumb luck riding the wave, dude. That's not that's you're gonna say, "Oh, it's talent." If you want to make the talent argument, that is also dumb luck, because you don't choose the body you're born into. You don't choose the mind you're born into, right? So it's just determinism and dumb luck. But anyways, I am done harping on this, but yeah, I don't know. Just something about the whole Adam Sandler thing irked me, and so I felt the need to make this video. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, appreciate you guys for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and all that. And the majority of my viewership is not yet subscribed, so please hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. That thingy, that metric, is indicator of like what I mean. Like, we need the top bar into the bottom. We need to flow this one, top one, into the bottom one. Into that little dot. We need to get more of that bar into that little dot bar. That's what we need to do. I appreciate you. Appreciate it. Alright. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.